What's going on, everybody? This is Living in Arizona Now, and today we are going to talk about three major concerns that have popped up over the last 2 years, 3 years in Phoenix, Arizona in particular. And we're going to highlight these three things. You guys can guess right now what they may be, but they are major issues because they do affect the long-term sustainability of Phoenix, Arizona in particular. But there are some silver linings to all of this, and we will also talk about some of the silver lining and the things you can do to prepare or at least be aware of moving forward. Also, by the way, guys, we just hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel, and the reason that we get this content and have this community is because of you, the viewer. So thank you to everybody who has subscribed and kept up with this channel. I just got back from a long trip overseas with Island Hopper TV. I went to Europe. For those of you who keep up with me on Island Hopper, link below in the description also. I went to Paris, Florence, Monaco, Amsterdam, Frankfurt, Germany, and then I came back through the Midwest. I went to St. Louis, Indianapolis, Louisville, Cincinnati, Buffalo, New York. So I'm back. I was gone for 2 months. That's why I haven't been posting. But we did hit that 100,000 subscriber mark, which is really big. Now they're going to send me like a silver creator thing, so that's pretty cool. Thanks to everyone like Ben who helped out with the content throughout the process. So but big thanks to you guys, the viewer. I also have a new channel. If you guys can subscribe and help me out with that one, it's called VirtCam. I made a video. I pinned it to the top here. Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport arrival. If you want to know what it looks like to arrive in Phoenix and go through the terminal here at Terminal B, you can see right here, or Terminal 3, this is what it looks like when you're walking through the airport. But it's a new channel. You guys can help me get that started by subscribing to that channel. I make airport tours and other tours alongside Island Hopper. But let's talk about the big three. Thanks to the 9 people who already crushed the likes. We have 55 people now watching. The first thing that we're going to talk about here is going to be the inflation that's happening here in Arizona. We broke a record, or we hold the #1 spot in the country for the highest rate of inflation in the entire country. So over the last 12 months, Phoenix inflation, cost of living has gone up more here than anywhere else in the country. Now, why is that? Well, we've got a supply chain constriction, but also a massive influx of people. But I want to know, where is it all coming from? Where are all these people coming from? Is the United States government letting in more people? Or more millennials buying or renting than ever before? Are they moving out of mom and dad's house? What the heck is going on? Where are all these people coming from? Because it seems like the immigration border is tight. It seems like people are not making as much money as they should be compared to the inflation. So why is there such a high demand all over the country, not just Phoenix? Because no matter where I went, whether it was St. Louis or Florida, everyone was telling me there's a big building boom happening all over the country. And because alongside, and the reason there is that is because the supply and the demand is just not catching up. So Phoenix right here, Metro Phoenix facing worse inflation than the rest of America. So you could see consumer prices have risen 7.9% in the U.S. over the past 12 months. The highest rate is more than 40 years, or the highest rate in more than 40 years. However, in Phoenix Metropolitan, it's 10.9%. So this is on the square, the center square, Arizona. If you guys want to read this full article right here, it's on the center square, but there's several articles. Just type in inflation rates in Arizona and it comes up. You can also see from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The next big thing, so that's the first thing, inflation, highest in the country. But what else do we have a problem with? Well, air pollution. So you can see on Cronkite News, Arizona PBS, State of the Air Report ranks Phoenix among top 25 worst U.S. cities for air quality and pollution. So we've got a problem with air quality out here, and the American Lung Association said climate change is one of the biggest factors in the increasingly unhealthy conditions in the West, as well as wildfires raging across the western U.S. in records. Now remember, they said climate change. That just means the climate is changing. It doesn't mean that it's any other way. It doesn't mean that it's man-made climate change. They're not just saying that, but they're saying it's climate change. The climate is changing. That's why when the climate changes, the air quality changes, They're not saying that it's because of any reason in particular, because I know some of you guys are going to go, hey, it's not climate change. Well, the climate is changing. It just, it happens all the time also, because this kind of stuff happened when we came out of the ice age. The climate changed. I mean, how do you think all the ice melted when we came out of the ice age? The climate changed, right? So anyway, we just touched on that. Now let's talk about another thing that's to know. How to protect yourself from poor air quality in Phoenix, what causes the air pollution problem, but a lot of it comes down to, oh, we have something making some noise here, I had to pause that. A lot of it comes down to the amount of traffic on the road. So I think us moving in the direction of more sustainable transportation options, obviously electric cars are a step in that direction, but also incorporating trains and other mass transit systems that are not just they're not just built, they actually work. I've seen this all across Europe in particular, where these cities in Europe are built for foot traffic. They're built for people. They're not built for cars. We build cities out here in the United States where everyone's got to live way out in the boonies, and then we've got to pave the desert, and we've got to knock over all the swirls, and we got to just keep going in urban sprawl. Why don't we start condensing it a little bit and take some of the areas that are empty lots or old buildings that are in downtown or around the downtown area and modernize it? I've seen this in some of the cities, even in the United States. St. Louis is doing a big rejuvenation of the interior of St. Louis. I saw it in Cincinnati. I mean, Phoenix can do that, and if we do that, that will limit some of the automobile pollution and some of the stress on our freeway system. But everybody always says, oh, we'll just keep paving the desert in all directions, and people are like, really, when does the madness stop? We don't have to keep going in all different directions. We can also concentrate to city centers, and it'll make life a little bit better. And I think that we should start really thinking about transportation options and solutions, as well as concentrating and making these, what we have basically in Desert Ridge is High Street, or what they have in Gilbert, more centralized living conditions. All right, the next thing, the third thing that we're going to talk about here that is a concern is the water levels. CNN's even reporting on this. I know you guys aren't big fans of CNN, and I'm not going to make any comments, but I get it. Lake Powell officials face an impossible choice in the West: mega drought, water, or electricity. So Lake Powell water levels being low also impacts the electricity, because there's a hydroelectric dam there at Hoover Dam. They're saying that the Rockies are just not getting as much water. Actually, yesterday I flew over the Rockies. Here's a look at the footage that I got when I was flying over the Rockies. It looks like lots of snow up there, even in May, or April 30th. So it looked like there was plenty of snowpack up there, but they're saying it's still not enough to fill up Lake Powell. But I think what they should be talking about is there's so many people pulling off Lake Powell, and if you look at the water levels here of Lake Powell, you could see here on the European Space Agency, this is what it looked like before. Okay, so this is full Lake Powell 2018. This is Lake Powell right now. Okay, so it's way down. I mean, 2018 shoreline, you can see right here, Lake Powell going down. But it's not just Lake Powell that's experiencing the problem. It's also the Arizona Phoenix groundwater situation that is really struggling. You could see Arizona Central, air quality remains poor. Our own survival is at stake. Arizona is using up its groundwater, researchers warn. So this was posted by the Arizona Republic, but they got their report from the Morrison Institute of Arizona State. Conservation, while necessary, is insufficient to achieve safe yield. So even if you are doing what's possible on your end, not watering your grass as much or getting fake grass, not taking 30-minute long showers, telling the people in your household not to take 30-minute showers, but also they have to take additional steps. Too many users are allowed to pump groundwater in perpetuity, while others are allowed to initiate new uses of groundwater. This is coming from the Morrison Institute of Arizona State University with the Arizona Republic. They published this. Safe yield has been subject to differing interpretations, complicating the assessment of meeting this goal. So the water conservation, water situation, drought, all across the West really is a big deal. I mean, in the Midwest, they didn't seem to have a problem with drought. I couldn't seem to get away from the rain in the Midwest. And they got these big rivers. They got the Ohio River, the Missouri River, the Mississippi River, and they're all just totally full. I'm like, hey, can you guys send some of that over here? Since you're sending your people, since everyone in the Midwest is moving out this way, why don't you send some of your water this way? So maybe building a canal network that pumps in water from the Great Lakes and all these areas that have so much water down here into, I mean, that would be a sustainable possibility, or the idea of actually doing what some people are talking about, taking all this ocean water, desalinating it, and then pumping it in. But, back in the old days, in the 30s and 40s, or whenever they built Hoover Dam or Lake Powell, and they did these massive canal projects like Central Arizona Project or Salt River Project, those dams, those are almost 100 years old projects. It's time for this generation to stop sitting around kicking the dirt around and actually invest in some infrastructure for sustainable living. Instead of complaining about too many people, we should be thinking about how to take the amount of people who exist and make life a lot more efficient and sustainable, and that's going to mean modernizing the infrastructure. President Trump was big on modernizing the infrastructure, and we saw what happened right now as I was going around to the airports. Many of the airports are getting overhauls. Salt Lake City, beautiful airport. Terminal 3 at Sky Harbor, beautiful, brand new. All of these projects happened in the last 4 to 5 years because the information went out. We've got to invest in infrastructure in the United States and in Arizona. Thanks to the 43 people who hit the likes. All right, I see some comments. Scott says, oh, okay, Scott went political, so we can't go there. Doug says, most people do not enjoy living on top of each other in a city. That is one thing I did notice when I was going around to all these cities, like Cincinnati, for example. The people are so friendly in Cincinnati, and I was thinking to myself, well, maybe the reason people are friendly here is because it's not shoulder to shoulder and it's not really overpopulated. Although the drivers in Cincinnati are probably worse than Arizona, I would say. I didn't think it was possible for Cincinnati or for another place to have worse drivers than Phoenix. But Cincinnati, whoa, when I was there, I was like, whoa, these people are really obnoxious with their vehicles. But it's right next to Indianapolis, where the Indianapolis 500 is. Hey, I mean, I'm just saying, I saw it firsthand. You guys can argue till the cows come home about how good the drivers are in Cincinnati, but I saw it firsthand. I mean, they drive right in the middle of the road. They got a big pickup truck. They almost run you over. They see you crossing the road, so what do? Instead of stopping, they accelerate. You're like, okay, all right, that's tremendous. Anyway, but yeah, I noticed that the people in Cincinnati were friendly, though. So even though they drive crazy, they're friendly. And it's the same with Louisville, same with a lot of the places in the Midwest, but they don't have this overpopulation density that you're seeing in places like Phoenix. Not saying people in Phoenix are not friendly. It's just that where the population density isn't really high, people are less stressed out, so they're not as angry or cranky. Because once you get shoulder to shoulder people like in New York or Boston, what do they call them? Mass holes, Massachusetts. Anyway, but they also say the same thing about New York, right? Andy says Texas takes the cake with the worst USA drivers. Oh yeah, Texas can get going too. I think drive. That's another reason why we need to get away from this whole dependency on automobiles. It's like people just are cranky. The road rage. I mean, people are road raging, and it's probably the most stressful thing people do day in, day out is get in a car and drive. And everyone's so addicted to this idea that the only way to transport and get around is by an airplane or by a car. Well, trains, especially these bullet trains that I was riding in places like Italy or France, I mean, these things are efficient. I even made a video on that other channel that I was telling you guys about, VirtCam. For those of you who are going to subscribe, like I said, click the link at the top or check the link in the description. If you guys subscribe to this channel, it will really help me out because I'm going around. I did Salt Lake City Airport, St. Louis Airport, Indianapolis Airport, Chicago. But I want to show you guys one of the uploads that I did, which is really cool. It was high-speed train from Florence to Rome. So you guys can actually go on this channel here on the VirtCam here and see what it looks like to take a high-speed train in executive class in Italy. Let's see if I can fast forward to the part where I show you the seats. But it was really amazing because it was comfortable. The train goes 230 miles an hour, and I mean the seats were just great. Here's a look. Let's see. Oh. Okay, yeah, they give you food, so you go a long distance, but there's the seats, And people in America are so opposed to trains. They're like, no, not a train. It's like if I sit like that and I get this view and I'm going 230 miles an hour and I don't have to go through TSA and I go from Phoenix to Los Angeles or Phoenix to San Diego, I think that's a worthy investment to make in society and community. I mean, this generation doesn't really like to build new infrastructure projects. Could you imagine 40, 50, 60 years ago when they were building all the highway systems? It was probably even longer ago than that, when they were building I-10, I-17, all these highways across the country. How much investment had to go into that? But this generation, they don't want nothing to do with making an investment in futuristic infrastructure. So they just let China, the rest of Asia, and Europe run away with the options, and we just keep building more highways and superhighways and roads, and that's it. No train network or anything. So rant over. Anyways, guys, I'm reading some of the comments. Everyone wants to say California has the worst drivers. Interstate 65 going through Nashville is like Indy 500 for the worst drivers ever. Yeah, I mean, going through Ohio like that from Kentucky across I think it's the 95. Is that what it is? Oh my gosh. The semis that drive through there, they're just they're just trying to get their truck over there. I'd say just let the semis have the highways. I mean, you get on the Interstate 10 going from Phoenix to Tucson, southbound or northbound, you're kind of like, whoa, man. There's so many semis and they're going 80 miles an hour and you're just driving along in your small sedan, your electric Prius or something, and it's just crazy. Thanks to the 69 people who smashed the like button. I'm back. Yeah, I can make some more videos. So I just went over the 3 big things. Hopefully this calls into question some of the sustainable ideas that we can come up with. But I think it's not just complaining about what's going wrong. It's also talking about the solutions. So the solutions to the air quality comes with reimagining transportation. The water sustainability issue comes along with reimagining how we can get water from the Great Lakes or some of these tributaries that just dump tons of water. The Mississippi dumps tons of water into the ocean, and in fact, it's actually eroding New Orleans. And we've got tons of salt water out there. They say that the ocean levels are about to inflate by 5% because the glaciers are melting. So it's like, why not desalinate? Why not make these investments in these canal projects and these projects that are sustainable for our future in Vegas, Arizona, and beyond, New Mexico too. But we talked about a lot of that. So thanks to everyone who watched. Thanks to everyone who hit the likes and subscribe to VirtCam. I put a link at the top of the chat and in the description to that new channel, VirtCam. And you guys can also watch my videos from across Europe. I went to Paris. Paris is a great city, probably the most impressive city that I went to. I also went to Monaco. Have you guys ever been to Monaco in Europe? Great city. Amsterdam, Florence. I love the Florence. But I did the 5 towns in the Midwest, actually 6. I'm getting ready to post Kansas City. Kansas City was probably my favorite. I saved the best for last, I guess. St. Louis is pretty good. That was probably number 2. Number 3, maybe Indianapolis. I like them all. I like them all, to be honest with you. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you guys on the next one.